walk you through that and help you with the timing. So this is my husband, and today is February 14th, actually 13th, and he is willing to do this the day before Valentine's Day and be my guinea pig, which was very nice of him. So this is what we're doing the day before Valentine's Day. And this is my cat, Apollo. He apparently is having a very difficult time resisting the heating pads. So we will work around Apollo because this is my third time removing him if I were to remove him again. Begin a session. You're kind of just saying hello to the body. And I know the camera angles are not going to show you everything, but hopefully it will at least give you an idea of what part of the body you're going to be on for each part. And in the future, maybe I can have a camera person getting some better shots for you. Why is it that cats think everything's about them? It's hilarious. Okay. I am somebody that likes to use heating pads a lot. So this is a sharper image heating pad. I'll put it on his back. And then I like to do the little vibration. It's actually weighted with a vibration to it. And one of the reasons I always start on the legs and the feet is because I like to prepare the back first before I get to it with heating pads, or in this case, the weighted vibration pack. I do a lot of house calls. So this is kind of my house call setup. I don't like to carry the whole table warmer because it's so bulky. So I'm going to remove you, mister. I cannot demonstrate draping with a cat in the way. Okay, so I'll move the heating pad over to the foot, and then I'll move the blanket out of the way. And then for the leg, what you're going to do is just kind of like roll the blanket under, and then you're going to tuck. So you do like a roll and tuck. You roll it up to about their underwear line, a little, really it's like, I do it about 2 inches below their underwear line. And so I roll, and then I tuck, and then I tuck right here at the hip as well. And the whole time you're rolling, you're keeping the sheet close to the body. And then I'm going to start with some effleurage first. If only we could all be as persistent as cats, right? What couldn't we accomplish? Okay. So I pretty much always start with effleurage. And then I'm going to do some petrissage. So for petrissage, I very rarely use my thumbs. I prefer to just keep my thumbs with my hand and do this kind of thing. And the reason for that is if you use your thumbs independently, that's a really good way to make yourself get carpal tunnel. And then I'll do some vibration with my fists into his IT band and his hamstring there. And then finish off with some effleurage. So with a 50-minute massage, you're really looking at about 2 minutes per leg. With all of my explaining and not working yet, it has been more than 2 minutes. Okay, on the calf, I'm doing effleurage, and then I'm doing some friction, and I do some friction on both sides, and then go directly over that soleus muscle there with some nice deep effleurage moves. And then at the end, I'm going to do some range of motion where I lift the leg up, kind of move the blanket out of the way a little bit because I like to be able to feel what I'm feeling. And then I'm going to put my forearm just right at the glute, and I kind of move the leg back and forth. It helps release some of that resistance that might be in those deep hip flexors. And when you're applying pressure and then you're kind of moving the leg, and this is an example of a pin and stretch. And then I'm going to recover the leg. I'm going to do the glutes with my hands in this sort of a movement. And this would be a deep friction into the glute area. And I'm going to address just right above the ilium and the lower back, and also get the glute medius at the same time that I'm addressing that lower back area. It's all interrelated. You really are going to have a very hard time releasing the lower back if you do not address the glutes, because the lower back basically, really, it is the glutes when it comes down to it. This is all, the legs, the glutes, the lower back. It's all together. So as I'm doing this range of motion with his leg, my other hand is doing a slow drag on his lower back. And then we'll cover him up. Move the heating pad to the other foot. Take the stool with me. I like to use the stool to put my lotion on when I'm doing house calls. So I'm kind of moving the blanket, rolling it out of the way. Take the sheet, roll it up to about 2 inches below the underwear line, and then tuck at the inner leg, and then you're going to tuck right at the underwear line on the outer lateral side. Starting with effleurage. And there's a lot of different ways to break down a 15-minute massage. There's not one right way. So the way I'm doing it is just one way. But I will tell you that it is valuable to learn how to do a 15-minute massage, because that is what most spas will want you to do. And if you are lucky enough to have your own business where you have the luxury of being able to do a whole hour massage, then when you know how to do a 50-minute massage, that allows you to plan your time out. So you have like a whole 10 minutes to focus on an area of concern. So it gives you an edge if you can do a 50-minute massage, because time management is kind of everything when it comes to being able to give your client the most for their time and money. And really, that's what gets them to come back, right? Because that's value. So I'm kind of just using my forearm. Really, I'm just kind of doing compressions on the glutes and also some deep friction. And then I'll kind of do the pin and move his leg around. Let some of that tightness work itself out. Cover him up and do just like I did on the other side. So whatever you do on one side, you want to kind of try to mirror it on the other side to a certain extent. It doesn't have to be like exact, but having some consistency is a good idea. Makes you seem more professional, makes you seem like you got it together a little bit. Okay, and then we're going to do the stretching. So taking his leg up, I'm putting my palm at his lower back, and I'm bringing the leg towards me as I push down and drag upon the lower back. You would think this would bother my husband, but he likes to listen to people talk when he's going to sleep. So this is like kind of what he listens to when he's going to sleep. And then tomorrow for Valentine's Day, we're going to the DMV. Woo! First, we'll go out to eat or something. We'll do something sort of romantic, I think. All right, let's turn off the vibration on this. So I don't like to have the vibration on when I move it down to their hips because it's just weird to have vibration on your hips. But it is nice to have that heat, and we just worked on the glutes. So it's good to kind of, it's very calming to kind of have that on your lower, kind of where your base chakra is. It makes you feel safe. It's kind of reminiscent of when you were a baby and your mom was holding you. It's just calming. I do like to start with compressions here to come over to the side to get over there. Now I might do a little bit of petrissage. If I am going to do it on the back, it's usually going to be more like this kind of thing, where I'm just kind of kneading bread down where the ilio and kind of next to the iliac area and the lower back. And then I might take that and get into their ribs. So pulling like this, as long as you maintain your lower back not bending over, this can be actually easier on you than pushing if you kind of get some of that in there, right? I'll go to this side, do some of this. And that's kind of like my transition to the other side. Once again, doing some friction. Kind of get the elbow part under the scapula. Do a little friction in there. And we'll do some petrissage like we did on the other side. And if I'm going to do vibration, I like to, on the back, I like to do it like here. If I am using my palm, I'm putting my other hand over my palm. I don't ever just use my hand like this. I'm always supporting it. I'm going to cover him back up. Finish with some feathering there. Now, I'm not going to do too much neck on this side because I do a lot on the other side. But I do like to kind of address it. Now, when my fingers are like this, I'm not doing a lot of pressure. If I do want to apply pressure, I'm going to do this. So I might get into the occipital area and apply some nice deep pressure but I am supporting my fingertips when I'm doing deeper work. I will not only do my fingertips by themselves without there being support. And I might even do this like up at the top of the shoulder. Or another thing I might do is take my thumb and support it with my other hand and get some targeted work. So I'm doing this with my thumb. My thumb is there and I'm using my palm and just pushing on the thumb like that. And of course we have to do the other side. Cannot leave him lopsided. That would be rude. And you could finish up with a little, on this side with a little scalp. I don't know anyone that doesn't like a little extra scalp work. And then I really enjoy some Traeger. We basically have about 2 more minutes for this side, so I might do a little bit like this. And you can do the other side. And you're kind of just where their coccyx is and their back of their, right in line with their heart chakra in the back, in between the shoulder blades. You're kind of shaking those. And then you can do the same thing with their legs and their feet. See how you can see the movement go all the way up? I do like to end a massage with this. It's nice. Or in the side. We're not really done with the massage. Okay, then I will remove the heating pads because especially this one is heavy, and if you try to flip them over with this, it can kind of hold the sheet and it's really awkward. Some people do like the heating pad on their stomach, especially women that time of month really like it. But in the winter, it's very nice. Okay, sir, if you wouldn't mind turning over. So this is where I get, so this is only a 50-minute massage. So for the neck on this side, you're really just looking at like 5 minutes. If that. So as you can see, I am doing some petrissage, and yes, my thumb is kind of involved, but this is very light. I'm not doing a lot of pressure. And I don't necessarily have to include that. I can just do just my fingertips here. And then I go up the spine on each side of the spine. And I'm kind of walking up the spine. So I'm on each side of the spine and I'm just walking up it from this position on both sides of the spine. And then I end at the underneath the occipital ridge. I kind of am cupping my fingers underneath there and I'm just hanging out. for a little bit. And then I'll turn the head and kind of really just, I want to get this part, this pointy part. See how pointy that is? That's pointy. So I'm just getting that pointy part right there into their neck. And coming up with some circles. So we have another video where I went into more detail for if somebody has neck issues. But this is 50 minutes, so we don't have like all that time. Just doing the same thing on this side. Now I like to finish with this kind of stretch. So basically I'm stretching the skin at the front of their neck, right? There's no pressure. It's like a stretch. And then I like to stretch down on their pecs at the same time. And that releases that fascia that's all connected right in there. And I might even take it down to the front of their bicep here, the bicep long head area, with this stretch, because all this fascia is connected. And you can really like address some shoulder problems in a pretty quick fashion by just fixing the fascia actually. So even though this is Swedish, you can still include, I mean, this is also effleurage, right? It's effleurage, but it's also fascia work. And then to finish up, I'll stand up and I'll hold their head, I'll cup their occipital, and then I'm at their pecs again, and I'm just kind of stretching the head this way and dragging on the pecs. And then I will get my nice heated neck wrap. You can also use a towel. I think it's really nice to support someone's neck after they get a neck massage. A lot of times you might make their neck start hurting again if you just make them lay on a flat table without support. So I do think it's a nice touch. I will include a little scalp work. I'm not really going to do too much on their face unless I'm going to wash my hands first. A lot of people don't like oils on their face. And you've been touching like the whole rest of their body, right? But you can kind of get their ears a little bit. That's always relaxing. Get some of those little reflex points in the ears. And if you kind of tug on the ears, that actually does help release the jaw a little bit. And then I'll get my nice little handy dandy eye pillow. Their eyes. I like to use a tissue. I did not have any in my house, so I'm using a paper towel, but normally a tissue is nicer, it's softer. Okay, so now we're on to the arms. So we're gonna get the arms. So we did not really address the triceps much from the other side. And the reason for that is you don't want to waste that time with a 15-minute massage. If they have longer and if they have shoulder issues, I will definitely address them from the other side. So I'm going to bring their arm out to the side. And we already did work on their pecs with the neck, so you don't really need to spend a lot of time on that. I like to do this one. So I'll actually like hold my hand and then move their arm. And then get that from the other side. Same move. Kind of gets that biceps long head really nicely. People that sit a lot at a computer, this biceps long head can be a real booger and cause a lot of problems. And then I'll go, also the forearms, of course, are always a problem with office workers. So I'm doing some effleurage with my fist. It's deep effleurage. I really like to do a lot of deep friction on the forearms. And then to address their hands, I'll use my thumb on the top of the hand, use my fingers underneath, get that pollicis longus muscle like underneath the thumb there, drag my hand up each finger. And then we got to make sure to get the tricep. So the trick for the tricep on this side is you take their hand and you support their elbow and you get it right, you pin it right into your hip here. And then you can get that pretty nicely there. And so I'll do some effleurage, and then on the lateral side here, I'll get some vibration with the top of my knuckles into that muscle, and then kind of end with effleurage, which is going towards the heart. And then I'll kind of do some nice feathering movements. It is good to kind of pin. Did you see how his arm was kind of flailing around? You kind of want to pin it. They're trying to relax and their arm kind of wants to go out to the side. And then you can end with some compression. Cover them back up. I try to keep as much covered as possible so they don't get chilly. When I'm doing house calls, I kind of like to just move my stool around with me because it gives you a place to put things down. And it also gives you a way to sit down if you want to, right? Move this back where you can see better. All right. Same thing. And when I'm doing the archer stance, I kind of like to be on my back leg a lot. It kind of keeps you more lined up. Friction, deep friction on the forearms. Also do a little petrissage on the forearms, leaving those thumbs out. Just doing that. And then get the top of their hand, just like the other side. Get on that palcus longus under the thumb. Spreading all that in their palm, spreading everything. And then dragging up each finger. And then we're going to kind of do the feathering. And then cover them up and do some compressions. I feel very strongly that I should have named my cat Persistence. I do not feel like Apollo completely describes this cat. He's such a shitty boy. So we move the blanket out of the way. Move the heating pad to the other foot. And then I'm going to move their hand so it's up at their belly. And I like to hang the leg over, because what we're doing is we're counteracting sitting all day by getting those hip flexors in exactly the opposite position, right? Do the effleurage. I do like to sit down to be able to access the IT bands over here. I think you really just can't get them very well unless you sit down. So this is friction. I'm going back and forth over the top. It's deep friction though. And then I'll do like this kind of movement. I also might take my fist and do this on the IT band. Kind of like in little circles. Then I'm going to finish up. Do some effleurage again. You're really kind of doing effleurage in between things, all the different things you're doing. I'm going to drape him back up. And while he's still covered up, for a range of motion for the leg, you want his hand to still be out of the way so you don't squish his hand. And then you're going to move the leg over to the side. And when you're pushing down, you're not pushing on their knee. And you're also not doing this if they have knee issues or they say that their knee bothers them when you do it. And then I'll do like a really light, just kind of very light bit of traction there. And a little bit of vibration. And then some compression to finish it up. Drape them back up. And put the heating pad on the other foot. Okay, we got to move his hand out of the way. Put his leg over. When you're draping when the leg's like this, you're rolling the sheet up and then you're tucking it on each side. So it's roll and tuck, and when you're rolling, you stay close to the body. Same thing as the other side. Get that IT band. Do some petrissage back and forth here. You can do a little bit of friction with your fist. So some people are very sensitive in their IT band. So you kind of want to monitor if they do this with their face. Then you might want to like lay off a little bit. Okay, so I'm supporting his knee when I move his leg up. And then if he doesn't have knee issues, I'll do this. And then when I'm pushing, I'm not pushing on his knee. I'm pushing right above the knee. And I'm not really pushing hard either. It's just a light stretch, and I'm paying attention to what kind of resistance I'm feeling, like you should with all range of motion. And then a little tug and a little wiggle. Cover him back up and do some compressions. All right, now we're going to do the feet and the legs, the bottom part of the legs. So I like to sit down a lot when I'm doing the calf area. Apply the lotion. Kind of like really just like parallel to the calf is a good place to be actually. And I'm kind of doing this kind of petrissage on the medial part of their calf. So when you're working on this side where their shin is, you're not putting a lot of pressure directly on that shin bone. It's not comfortable. So when I'm going back and forth like this, I'm like this, their shin bone is in between where the pressure is not. So my thumb is on that lateral area. And unless they're having a lot of foot issues, that may be all that I'm going to do there. And we'll get over, we got to do the feety feets. All right, for the foot, I like to do, first I get my thumb where the top of the ankle is. I like to get this part of my hand into this area. And then I'm using my knuckle on the bottom of the foot. And then you got to get their toes. There's really no way to avoid using your thumb when you're working on the toes and the fingers. You kind of just have to. And then I'll do a little stretch like this. Get those ankles moving in all different directions. If you get somebody that has to wear metal-toed shoes at work, it really like makes all this top of the ankle super tight because their foot can't move correctly. I'll kind of wiggle it, cover it up, and do the other foot. Oh, we gotta do the shin as well. Okay. So I'm doing this kind of movement. This is petrissage, but I'm not using my thumb. Kind of get where it connects to their ankle there, goes down into their Achilles. And then when I'm going up the leg here, I am not putting pressure on their shin. My thumb is on this other side of their shin. And cover him up. And we're going to do the other foot. Turn that off. So I'm getting next to the ankle here. Using this part of my hand into this side of the foot. I like to use my knuckles on the bottom. Which, by the way, when I do reflexology, I really prefer to do it with my knuckles. Because my thumb just can't do that. But I'm not doing reflexology right now. Okay, and go up to the toes. Do a little stretchy. Do a little shake. Cover him back up. And then at this point, we're going to finish up with a little shaky shake. You can do a little compressions just to say goodbye. I like to kind of do some compressions up here at their pecs. And remember you're like right above their, right below their clavicles when you're doing this. Make sure you're not pressing on their clavicles. And then let me show you this little neck. Okay, I like to take this can be a hot towel, or it can be a neck pillow. So I like to take it and I like to do some manual traction like this. And then I'll just let one side go and then let the other side go. And then put my hand actually like underneath the occipital, and you have the extra traction from the towel, and you can kind of do a little stretch. And then do a little pec push. And then just say, thank you, sir. Take your time getting up. And you're done.